Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be talking about my second year in review. I figured a lot of people liked when I did the whole first year review, so I decided to come back and do a second year review. And I'm gonna split the video into 4 parts. Basically, what stayed the same, what I want to do more of, what I learned, what is new. So if that sounds interesting, then definitely stick around. So I really think I should start with like what stayed the same from my first year as a school psychologist to my second year. And it's just a couple little simple things, but I think having these things the same helped me, and I'll tell you how. So the first thing that stayed the same from last year to this year were the meeting days. And since I have 2 schools, that's really good that they stayed the same, because I would have had to change my days and kind of mix that around. I have no idea if they're going to be the same next year, but having like my meeting days at the middle school on that Tuesday and then the meetings at my elementary that Wednesday helped, because that's the same that it was the year before, and I got used to being at the school those days. So they usually try to work around the people, like the main people that have to be in the meeting. So if that's a thing at your school, I would let them know like, hey, next year can we keep these days the same, because it's something minor, but it helps to keep that flow going. And so then you don't have to worry about, well, now I have to switch my days. What days? And can you switch your days? You know, do you, depending on the distance and how your schedule is. So sometimes it's just better to keep that the same if possible. Another thing that stayed the same is I still share my office at both schools with the social worker. And I really like that, because I always say that the social worker and the school psych are kind of like the best friends when it comes to basically helping the kid. Like the school psych is here, like, what can we do here at the school? How can we help this child? What can we do to the curriculum? And then the social worker is more like, how can we help this kid at home and in the community, and what resources can I give the parent? And of course there's overlap, but it kind of, to me, brings everything full circle, and we really need that when working with kids. So sharing the office with the social workers allows us to have that collaboration and communication. I really love that. So I'm happy that that stayed the same from last year to this year. So we get alerts I get them mostly at my middle school, and I just got added to the list at the elementary school, but we get alerts if there's like a threat, suicide, harassment, nudity, things, violence, so things like that. We'll get an alert, and it's because the students are writing things on their laptops to each other, and they're school owned, so certain target words will alert us. And I didn't have to do that many this year, because so for the suicide assessments, obviously it's just me, the social worker, and the counselor that can complete those. But for the other alerts, a lot of other people in the school can. So like the nurse could help, the principals, assistant principals, like there's a lot more people that can go and help with that. And I didn't have to do a lot, and that kind of stayed the same just like last year. And I think it's because I switched schools, so I'm not there every day, and there's other stuff that I have to get done on the days where I am present. So I kind of like that stayed the same. Like obviously I'm there to help, but there's other things that I could do, especially if other people can attend to those problems. So if I could keep that the same, I will. The next thing I want to talk about is what I learned this year, because I learned quite a few things. So I became more confident in my skills, but I'm not scared to ask for help. So, you know, the first year I'm kind of just like, oh my gosh, how do I do everything? Trying to learn how the school works and also applying what I learned in grad school. And I felt way more comfortable and confident in my knowledge and my skills, but I definitely do not know everything. And having my mentor and supervisor and just other school psychs that work in the district, it was so nice, because then I, could message them. And I was, especially with some of the tough cases that I had this year, where I'm like, I never had to deal with this. I'm not sure what to do. And I would message them and ask if they can come to the meeting, or I would just ask, this is what I plan on doing. Is this what you would do? And just kind of having that help. And I learned that, and I knew this before, but it really was pressed into my head that if you do need help, don't just guess. You are good in your skill and you will feel more confident, but it's okay to ask for help and they don't mind. And I learned that that's okay, because you're not ever going to know everything. They learn stuff too every day. So, you know, just don't be afraid to ask for help, but also be confident in your skills. I also learned different criteria that we could use in special cases. So perfect example, usually in my district, if we are going to say that a kid has specific learning disability, it's due to the discrepancy model. So we use the discrepancy between the IQ scores and the achievement scores. So the IQ score needs to be way higher than the achievement scores. Now, we had a case where the scores were low. Like I had a student where the scores were low in both. And other people on the team wanted to make the kid SLD through the option of the research-based intervention, which we almost never use in our district. Now, again, I'm not saying this is every district, but in ours, we usually don't use that. So we were able to do it, but it was really extensive and they had to show a lot of documentation and how it didn't work and how there were years and years of them trying this and what they tried and was it evidence-based. So me learning like, okay, this is a possibility if needed. This isn't the norm that we do, but I learned something that wasn't the norm and we used it in that case. So I learned how to do that. I also have been in situations this year where we all picked components. So, you know, like if you need like a psych, a social, observation to see if the kid will need special education services. But then when we got to the meeting, some of the people and the things that were checked off, those people did not have that information, and I hadn't been in a situation like that before. So I'm like, what do? We don't have all the information. And I had learned that you just go with the information that you have. I mean, you can't make up information and you can't help that you're missing information. So what do we have? That's what we use. And I don't know, I just didn't know what we do in that situation because I wasn't put in that situation before. And there may be some people that never are put in that situation, but I learned, okay, that's what we do at my school in my district because that's all we can do. You know what? Let me know what you guys did if you were in that situation before. The next thing I want to talk about is what was new this year, because there were a couple of new. So I had a lot more testing than last year. It wasn't a lot. It was just the timing and all squished together. So last year, I feel like there was testing that was done and it was a lot of reevaluations, but this year it was a lot of initials at the middle school and they were all kind of clumped together in February, like end of January, February, and March. And then towards the end of February to March, I had more at the elementary school. So I'm fortunate enough that I only had about like 36 evaluations altogether at both of my schools, which isn't a lot. It's just how it was spaced out. So it was kind of slow in the beginning, like almost none. And then a whole lot like in February. And like I said, January, March, and then slowed down for a little. And then at the end of the year, not just me, but a bunch of the other sites in the district also had just a whole bunch of evaluations this last month. And usually we don't get any, like at the end, you know, we usually stop because it's like the kids are leaving soon and teachers and parents and, you know, would have gotten an idea throughout the year if the student need help. So it was really crazy this year. And that was definitely different from last year. And when I asked other staff if that was the case in the past, they said, no, like this hasn't happened before. We don't know what's happening this year. So I don't know what's happening. It's new to me, but it seems to be new to the school too. The other thing that was different was a lot of threat assessments at my elementary school, but at like the past 2-3 weeks. And I think I did one threat assessment last year, but I kind of just jumped in on one that the counselor was completing. And this year I did like 2 or 3, all within like a 2 or 3 span. So it was really crazy, especially since that was the elementary school. And we're just like, what is happening with the things they are saying? Because they were saying threatening things to other students. So I was nervous at first completing it because, like I said, I had only seen it once and they had changed the sheet that we use also. But once you do it more, you do get more comfortable with it. But it was new for me to be doing these threat assessments, let alone threat assessments at the elementary level. But these days you really never know. So if you're freaking out about doing like threat or suicide assessments, and I know they're horrible to do, but if you can, like, do it with someone else as much as you can, because it's only going to make you better and more comfortable, just in case if one day you have to do it by yourself and it's a serious threat or suicide risk. You know what to do and you're not panicking and you're good. The last thing I want to talk about is what I want to do more of. And one of the things that I really want to do more of is checking in with kids after I complete assessments with them. So usually like last year, I would just assess a kid and then that's it. I would present my data when we had the meeting. Towards the end of this year, I assessed the kid, especially if they had behavior problems. I would then go and take them out of their class when they were free. So maybe like during lunch, or if they were having a meltdown in class, and just bring them down to my office, because a lot of them are better one-on-one, and just trying to calm them down, get to know them more. And it was amazing how much you actually learn about them, because you just see the reading, writing, and math and like the IQ and that type of stuff, right? But like playing games or talking to them, you get to learn like, what do they like? What makes them happy? What calms them down? What can you do to make them feel better, and then can that be applied in the class? So now when I go to the meetings, I'm gonna have all this extra information that I can use to help everyone understand the child better. So I really want to do more of that, and I think that just comes with the more comfortable you get, because again, last year I was really trying to learn just how everything's working, and now it's like I'm more comfortable with how everything's working. I want to do more and make things even better, and can I get more information? So if you can, try to do that. And the kids like it too, and I enjoy seeing them, so it's a win-win in that situation. I also want to have more groups. So I had the social skills group at the middle school, and I had the behavioral group at the elementary school. And even there, the social skills group was only like about 6 weeks. The behavior group was a couple months, so that did last longer. I was testing out things that were working and might not work as well, but I really liked doing it. So if I can either do more groups or continue those groups, but just make them better and maybe switch out the kids so that I can get to more kids, I really want to do more groups. I think that would be fun. Also, I am thinking maybe I want to greet the kids in the morning, not every day, because sometimes like I'm not at one school all the time, and sometimes in the morning I might have a meeting, or I need to go in and write this report, or there's something that I have to do right away. But every once in a while I think it'd be good to either go in the classroom and greet the kids first thing in the morning, or greet some of them at the door, or greet some of them while they're eating breakfast, just so then they can see like, oh, this is a friendly face, I feel comfortable around this person, I could probably go to them if I need anything. And you get to know the kids better. Plus, kids at elementary school, maybe not so much in middle school, but at elementary school, they love saying hi to everyone. They love giving hugs, high fives, fist bumps, whatever. They just love that, having that connection. And a lot of them need that connection. So I want to be a part of that connection if I can. So maybe greeting the kids more often next year, something that I want to do. So I hope that you really enjoyed this video, guys. I was trying to think, okay, what are things that are different? What are things that stay the same? How can I set up this video and not make it super boring? So I really hope that you did enjoy it. I'm always sitting in this spot. I feel like when I do a sit down video, maybe I should get a more interesting spot. But let me know if you guys had the same experience in your second year, if you're in your second year, or even if you're in like your third, first, fifth, 100th year. All right, I'm starting to exaggerate, but regardless, let me know how your experiences have changed over time, or what you realize if you're just starting. I think that it's funny to kind of look back and see just how things change over time, or stay the same, or what you do differently, and then trying to put that into action, you know? So anyway, if you did stick around this long with me, I appreciate you so much, because I did not think this video would be this long, but here we are. So I'm so happy that you watched it, and I hope that you have a great, wonderful rest of your day and weekend and week, and I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye guys.